Hello everyone, in this video let us do a quick revisit of next-gen projects. So in 2018 I made a video about newly released next-gen projects, and the whole idea about next-gen projects was that Atlassian wanted to give more power to a normal user in Jira. Now in Jira we all know about the customization capabilities, and you can of course do a lot of customizations like creating a new issue type, adding more fields, or maybe modifying the workflow. And in late 2018, Atlassian added this new feature of next gen projects on their cloud offering. And I believe in the past 1 year, this next gen project feature has received a good feedback from customers. I am feeling a bit embarrassed because I personally never really used this feature for myself or maybe for my clients. However, I made a video, my first initial review of this next gen project in November 2018. And this video is quite popular. It has received around 3,400 views, which is quite a lot for a channel which is not really huge, especially my channel. And I thought I'll probably do a review of next gen project, since I'm trying to spend more time on cloud these days. And I also know for a fact that Atlassian has a lot of focus on cloud, and that is why you see a lot of videos where I'm using the Jira Cloud instance. So today I want to do a quick revisit of the next gen project, and I actually watched my old video just to learn about the offering of a next gen project. And it was really good because I was able to recall things that I did with it long back, not really long back, but I think it was 1 year and 2 months back. So let us do a quick revisit to next gen project. I'm sure a lot of things have changed since then. uh, since Atlassian is focusing a lot more on cloud now, so I'm expecting some new features maybe. So let us see. So what I'll do, I'll probably create a project very quickly. And if I go to the create project option, I have the option to, of course, try a next gen project. And it says here that easy setup and reimagined features created and managed by project team members. So let us try to create a project, and I'll probably name this as Ravi's personal project. So I'll probably do the same thing that I did last year, and instead of using Kanban, I'll probably try Scrum, because I believe they have different templates. So this is something that I'm I think seeing which is a bit different. So now, based on the application that you're using, if you're using Service Desk, it says no template found. Let me select business. Do we have any template for business? So no, we don't have any template for business, but let me try software. So it seems like next gen projects are available only for software based projects, which is fine. I think it makes sense, but I'm not sure whether having this capability of managing your project uh, can be useful, I believe, also for business projects. But there is no option to create a project, a next gen project, when you're trying to create a project using the business template, which is fine. Let us select Scrum, and I will quickly create the project. So we'll probably do the same thing that we did earlier, but this time I'll probably be a bit quick. I'll not spend a lot of time repeating the things that I did last time. If If those features are still relevant, then it is good, because I think last time when I did a review of Next-Gen project, I liked it. I personally enjoyed this ability to have a roadmap and also custom fields that you can create, and you can also have those custom fields for specific issue types. So let us try to do the same thing, but we'll do it very quickly. So the moment you create a project, you are presented with a board. But if I expand my project sidebar, I have a roadmap, I have a backlog, and of course my board, which is the default view. So before I create any issues, let us take a look at the roadmap. And I believe when you are working with the roadmap, you want to have some kind of high level uh, initiatives, or when it comes to planning your project, you may want to have epics. Now on top you have a drop down or a filter that says status, and I believe it is nothing but a quick filter. In Jira, you all know about in Jira software, you all know about the quick filter, and these quick filters will help you in quickly finding your, or maybe filtering the view based on the status. And I believe in the board configuration, you can create your own quick filters, but I'm not sure whether you can do the same thing here or not. So let us create some epics, and let us do the same thing. Let us say we are trying to build a mobile app for different platforms, uh, and we just want to track them at the very high level. So we'll probably start with Android, then we'll probably use iOS, platform, and API. So these are my epics, and this is similar to the last view that I was looking at around 1 year back, and I can drag the 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 epics, which is great. And I can also change the duration of these epics. Maybe it will not take too much time to work on API. So you can change the duration, you can drag them as well. Uh, Let me try to do a few more things. I believe you can also create a link, which is awesome. So there is an option to create some kind of a dependency. I'm not sure if this feature was there last time, but I don't remember doing that. Or maybe I missed it, or maybe this feature was not there. So we have this option to create a link. Maybe you want this to be somehow related to each other. So uh, it is not really following the dependency. I mean, usually you expect when you're working with dependencies, you expect the timelines to shift if you're coming from a Gantt chart background. Uh, Maybe there is a configuration error. So if you click on the view dependency detail, uh, it is actually giving me some option like blocks, but it is not really shifting the dates, which is fine. To be honest, I'm feeling really bad because I never really used next gen project in detail, but I'm doing it right now, so I'll probably figure it out. So the thing that I was expecting is that maybe you can have some configuration for the dependencies. Maybe you want to change the dependencies, or the dates, but it is not happening right now. Let us see if we can do that or not. So let me create maybe one more dependency here. I'll probably try this time with the issue which is under it. I'll create a dependency from this issue to the other issue, which is fine. So we can actually create links. And if you click on, let us say, one of the epic, it will open this issue detail view on the right hand side. It is a bit familiar view, and it is using uh, it is using the new Jira issue view, which is not bad. You have the option to change the status. There is no option to take a look at the workflow. I'm not sure if there is a workflow or not, but it has few states. So let us create some child issues, and I believe you can do that from here. And you can also add these stories if you're adding a story later on to those epics. So I can probably add maybe a few stories, and we have the option to use different type of child issues. So we have options like story, task, and bug. Let me create something like story 1, story 2, and we can also link this to a Confluence page. Let us see what all we can do here. We can add it to some other apps if you're using apps. Right now, we don't really have any app. We are using a free version of Jira Cloud, and we don't really want to pay for it. So this looks good. Let us take a look at iOS, and let us also uh, add a few stories under it. So let us not do it from here. Maybe I'll probably go to the backlog view, and when you go to the backlog view, you can see those stories um, that you saw earlier. So there is a pop-up here um, to basically install an app. I'll probably cancel it. So we can see here some app, some not some apps, but some stories, and these stories are already linked to the Android Epic. Let me create maybe more stories. So let me add story number 3, story number 4, and so on. So if I click on, let us say, story number 3, I should have an option here to add it to maybe an epic. So I'll select add parent, and I'll select maybe iOS. So this is similar to the last time, the last when last time I looked at it. So I can add a story either from the epic view in the roadmap, or I can later on add stories in the backlog and then link it to my epics that are already there. So let us start the sprint. So you can do the same thing that you are familiar with the Scrum boards. You can have stories in the Epic. You can click on the Start button. I was trying to probably estimate. So do we have an option here to estimate it? So yes, we do have an option here to estimate using story points, which is good. So it is not really difficult to work on the Next-Gen project. If you're coming from Jira software background, it is quite obvious how to use it, and that is a good thing. So when you start the sprint, you can of course change these things like duration. You can have a sprint goal. Let us do it very quickly because we have seen that more than a year ago. So you have your familiar board. I was interested in actually doing few more things that I was expecting. Like maybe I want to add more status columns, and maybe I want to do some configuration on the board. But when I click on these three, the button on top with three dots, it says Edit Sprint, and there is an option called Manage Rules. So if I click on Manage Rules, I believe it will give me the option to do something. So this will probably let me select some options like update an issue field or assign an issue to someone. It is a bit like a post function. So it is actually good because I guess this can only be done by, or this can be done by anyone who has access to the project, the next gen project. Let me try to add a new status. So assign an issue to someone. After moving an issue to a certain status, assign it to someone. So for issues moving to in progress, you may want to assign it to the current user. So I believe the person who is moving it will be the assignee of the issue. So this is good. I think they have some rules, which is fine. There is a link to pages. There is a link to add a Bitbucket repository, or maybe a shortcut to maybe any page, any web page. Let us take a look at the project settings. I believe it is a bit similar to what we saw last time. So under the project settings, you can modify the project name. You can have this option to um, give access to people. So right now I'm using a free plan, and that is why there is no feature to add to add more people, or maybe to change the permissions, which is fine because I'm using a free plan. I think it will follow some standard permissions, but this is something we know that if you're using a free plan of Jira, you don't really have an option to modify the roles, or rather, the permissions overall. Uh, let us take a look at the issue types. Can we add more issue types, or can we configure it? So it looks similar to the last time that we I mean, I don't really see any difference. It is exactly the same. we have different issue types. We have the option to add more issue types, and we also have the option to add more fields, which is good. Let us go back to project settings and take a look at the features. So we do have similar features. You can enable reports. You can also enable releases and versioning. So I don't think the next gen projects are massively different. I can feel that there are some new improvements when it comes to using the next gen projects. But overall, I think the concept or the idea of a next gen project was to have or to give normal users the capability to manage their own project without raising a request to have more fields or do small changes to maybe your Jira administrators. So I think the next gen projects are quite popular and people are actually quite liking this next gen project. I feel a bit ashamed and embarrassed because I never really used it, although I was able to review it uh, very quickly when it came out, when it was released by Atlassian, and that was more than a year ago. But I thought probably it is the right time to review it again and see if it is still valid. So yes, it is still valid and it is still useful. One thing that I noticed is the capability of adding dependencies, which I'm not sure if it was there last year or maybe I missed it, but I think this time it was a bit obvious because when you're working on the roadmap, you can see these small the dots that you can click on, and then you will have the option to link. So I think maybe this time it is a bit more intuitive, and it's a good thing from Atlassian that they have made this next gen project a bit more intuitive. So overall, I'm happy. I'm still convinced that I'm still uh, I still have the same opinion that next gen projects can be really useful. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.